Well, welcome and good evening, everyone. I think my voice is loud enough, but I think because of the acoustics, I'm going to have to use a mic. How's everyone doing this evening? Good. Well, first, we really appreciate you being here at the end of the day. As we get started, we'll be introducing ourselves individually. So I'm Mukta Panda. I am a clinician and have been in Chattanooga in a clinical academic role for over 37 years, and currently serve as the Dean for Morehouse School of Medicine with CommonSpirit Memorial. Been working with Adira and Chyela, and really about the work that we do in healthcare is about human relationships, and what better way to bring that to life if not through the humanities. And we're going to sort of show and work with you all today a little bit around that. So before we get started, I just wanted to invite you all to be present as you are called to be. This is a safe space, a brave space. All voices are welcome. We welcome experiences, perspectives. There's no expertise required. We invite participation. However, it's not required. Silence is respected. As we are in this space together, I'd like you to think of it as a gift to yourself, to really pause and think about things perhaps in a way with deep reflection that you may not have had the chance to do, in whatever way seems meaningful to you through your lens. And perhaps remembering that it's not right or wrong, it's just different. And if things feel hard or difficult, perhaps we can invite curiosity in instead of defensiveness or judgment. And I hope that we share this time together as a trustworthy relationship building. Thank you.
All right. Have we all had enough time to look? All right. We can keep looking. The looking doesn't have to stop. I'm Dr. Chyela Rowe. I'm the manager of Arts Therapies and Well-Being at Memorial, CommonSpirit Memorial Hospital. And it's a pleasure to be here with you tonight and to share some of what we provide in the community and at the hospital in just a little taster of how we can engage with art. So I'm going to ask a couple of questions to get us thinking a little bit. Before we get started, does anybody in here remember what the topic of this talk is? Or did you just come? Yes?
Grief.
Grief, okay. Anything else that you remember?
Art and healing.
Art and healing. Anything else? Any other words that you remember from the prompt that was at the bottom? So the one I'm looking for is thinking about what's within, right? Healing from within. Why do you think that we had that topic in relationship to this body of work here? Say it again, Martha.
It's like cells in your body.
Okay, so it brings up ideas of cells in the body. What else did you see? Bacteria, viruses, what else? Mushrooms? Okay. Sorry, what did you say? Legs? Oh, layers, thank you. Layers, yes. Something growing.
I've got neural pathways.
Neural pathways. Okay, that was one of the things that made me think brain parts, synapses, things like that. Yes?
I saw the sun and expansion.
The sun and expansion. Eyes, yes. You have to look close to see the eyes, but there are eyeballs in this work. What else? Cilia. Okay. So we're thinking about like things that are normally hidden or on the inside that we don't see. So when we're thinking about that pathway to well-being, that pathway to wellness, we're right now entering into a space where we're inviting the artwork to be a participant in us as a group today and individuals accessing our well-being or having a conversation with our well-being. So we're going to do this in 3 parts. This is a little 3-part activity that I do oftentimes when we're engaging in things that are complicated, hard, difficult, complex, multi-layered. We'll start with identifying, and that's part of what we're doing here. We're saying out loud things that we noticed. We're going to identify in ourselves, inside of us, something that we feel or think, or maybe it's like gumbo, where it's like you can't really identify all the parts, but when you taste it, when you play it apart, you can get it. So we're going to identify something about how this work connects to how we feel, or what's going on inside, a memory, an idea. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to play. And then at the end, we're going to practice. And by practice, I mean we're going to have an idea that we're going to take with us and we're going to put it into practice. We're going to apply it. Does that sound good? All right. What are the 3 words? Identify. I'm showing you, right? Identify, play, practice. All right. So, Dr. Panda, did you want to add anything to this before we get started?
No, I loved what the thoughts that came up and the diversity in what people saw. And I think that's when we really pause and take time to look at something with an open mind, we can really let sometimes our imagination see beyond the obvious. So thank you for participating in that.
So when we think about identifying, we've identified some sort of initial thoughts. We don't know what the artist was thinking, right? And we, on purpose, have covered what the artist said about why she made this work. Did anyone notice that? No, you didn't know. Well, I mean, we have a bio about the artist, but there's a little plaque over here that tells us a little bit more about the work and why the artist made the work. And we didn't want you to be influenced by that, because this exercise today is about inviting the artwork to be medicine, inviting the artwork to be a participant in some kind of health or wellness or well-being for you as an individual today. So when you think about these structures and shapes, see if you can imagine something in you that you can project onto that. I didn't say this, but I'm a drama therapist. Anybody in here know what a drama therapist is, except for my interns? Okay, young man in the back. A very dramatic therapist, okay. Yes, and. All right, so in drama therapy, we use the processes in the theater to help people find a language or a way of expressing. So sometimes we can't always have words for how we're feeling or thinking, so we use other processes for that. So one of those processes that we use, play is actually one of them. Sorry, I'm putting my notes here. There we are. All right, so projection is one of those. Dramatic projection in the drama therapy world is the process of outwardly expressing and representing aspects of oneself, others, social forces, feelings, and experiences onto the artistic material. So we're taking what's on the inside and we're applying it or projecting it onto something else. So take a few minutes, contemplate. If you want to get up and look again, we can do that too. Make yourself comfortable. But imagine, is there anything in here that you think about what's going on the inside And you see that represented here, like using a symbol or a metaphor. So the invitation is to think about something that you're thinking or feeling, maybe something that's a problem or a complexity or a challenging emotion. And do you see anything in here that might represent that? We're going to project our thoughts and ideas onto the artwork. We're not concerned about what the artist was thinking when they made it. We're concerned about what we see and what we feel, what we connect to, that empathy that we have, and how it might be represented by something on this wall. Moving parts, sometimes working together, and sometimes disconnected. And can you, if you feel comfortable, saying a little bit more about how that relates to what's going on with you? He was saying that generally this idea of like life things flowing and swirling and moving around and connecting and disconnecting, that there's something about what he's experiencing in life that feels like it's represented in this image. And when we asked, does anybody connect to this, we got some hands. We got some connection to that. Anyone else? Anything? Yes.
I would say I identified it for this in a way that it could be an obsessive thought, and how I may lose control of the thought, and it may grow into something that it didn't start as, and I have no control over that.
Okay. Anybody connect to that idea? We got a few hands feeling that too. Yes, yes. Thank you for your transparency and your honesty about that.
I actually find comfort in that corner. There's a bunny of colors, and as if dollars are Monday, it gives me some form of like meditative feeling, and so I use that for sleeping, and so looking at that brings me comfort, like in that corner where it's just kind of blending together.
Projecting kind of what's going on onto the art, thinking about growth, and growth being not linear and somewhat chaotic, but it's moving ahead, and you don't necessarily know where it's going to end up. And that's, that was when you asked the question, when you phrased it, what came to mind from the first bullets.
Thank you for that. Anyone connect to either of these two ideas? Yeah. Yeah. Anyone else want to share? Okay.
I have structured chaos.
Okay.
Seems, and again, that kind of goes back because earlier when we were told to look at it, back to what the gentleman said earlier, I had life in general and all the activity and constant changes and movement. It just seems, this piece is fascinating. You just keep looking and keep looking, and it's kind of like with our lives, it's just layers and layers and so much unknown.
So much unknown. Like we see it, it's all here, but there's parts that are unknown here, right? Anyone connect to that idea? Yeah, yeah. Okay, I've got another one on this side of the room.
Sort of adding to what you just said about the chaos is I see, as a movement therapist, I see sort of inside the body, this organized chaos. There's constant motion and movement and confusion, and yet there's an order to it all. So I see that, I see the body, I see cells, I see fascia. But I also see this as being like decision making, and you're trying to decide between this and that, and they both look great and they look beautiful, but it pulls you in different directions. So I see both of those components.
I now see that corner to look like a mirror, and within the mirror are eyes. And as we look through the eyes, we have different lens on how we look at others and ourselves.
So a place to see and to be seen, and to see and be seen differently. Yeah, anybody relate to that? Okay, so these are beautiful, beautiful contributions to this. I'm going to give you a minute to now play. I've got some paper, scissors, and a lot of beads. We're on theme for the night because there are lots of beads in this. And I invite you, we've also, if making, crafting is not your thing, that's A-okay. We've got some cards, just like index cards and pencils that we're allowed to use in the gallery space. So feel free to just do some journaling or sketching or drawing, but we're gonna take just a few minutes, and I understand that for some people, this is an unusual ask to be in the gallery, have a talk, you're sitting in a formal seating arrangement in the gallery, and now I'm asking you to get up and play. So I'm also gonna invite, for anybody who doesn't want to project or distance in the way with the art materials, we also have space in the gallery for maybe a little stretching or moving or sitting on the floor. If you prefer an embodied way of sort of playing and exploring, our people who are here guarding the artwork will make sure that we don't get too physical or too close to the artwork. Just be mindful of that. But we're gonna take, what time is it now? 6:25. Let's take 15 minutes and we're gonna play, all right? Challenge yourself to loosen up, invite in some oxytocin that comes with even a little bit of a laugh, explore the materials, talk to other people, work with a partner if you want to, but take a few minutes to then take all of these thoughts and ideas and see if you can make something that even just to you represents those ideas. Okay, any questions? All right, what did I say we were gonna do? We're gonna play. We identified, we're gonna play, and then what are we gonna do next? We're gonna practice. Okay, so we'll come back to the group afterwards and we'll have a little bit of conversation, okay? All right, go for it. We forget, okay, someone in the audience just said, as adults, we forget to play. So this is the first practice takeaway comment that I'm hearing. As adults, we forget to play. Is that true for anybody else in here? Do you relate to that? Yeah. It's real. We get so weighed down by all of our responsibilities, all of our everydays, all of the schedules, timelines, all of those things, we forget what play feels like, right? So, as promised, we're gonna do takeaways, right, Dr. Panda?
Yes.
Okay, what are you gonna take away from this?
First, I want to say thank you for the engagement because it brought different lens to what I was thinking, and I'll share very briefly when Adira, Chyela, and I came to look at the artwork that we were going to do. It had been a very busy day, and I had rushed here, and then I just walk in, and my first emotion was one of awe. And in the recent years, I have come to realize the importance of that feeling of awe and how sacred that feeling is and how it connects us to something deeper that is with our purpose. So that was helpful. And I was just sharing with a colleague here that even being from a medical background, what I first took away was the cosmos, the universe. And it's suddenly from that feeling of awe, it became a feeling of humility. That how minuscule we are and how important it is for us to take that time to feel that awe. So that's what I wanted to share. But then the second thing that I am taking away is exactly what you said, the engagement with the play and just the pause and the different ideas that came up, and how important it is to find that within ourselves when we are even alone or in the busyness when things are happening, because there's such depth that comes out.
Beautiful. Thank you for that. Awe and wonder. So I'm going to keep it real. What I took away from this is I have just recently had my middle age test, and I'm imagining polyps and ulcers. and what happens if you don't take care of yourself, right? Like, all right, I'm keeping it real, keeping it real. This is what I saw. So what did you see? What are you taking away from this? Okay, so I'm going to repeat back what I heard. I heard it's important to take time. Reach out and grab some time, put it in your pocket. We're going to take that time for slowing down, for taking time for yourself, for self-care, because that is just as important as caring for others. Let's take just a minute to breathe that in. Can we just... That's right. Thank you for that. That was a gift. What else are we going to practice? What other thought can we take away from this?
Acceptance. You know, like we had a really interesting conversation about like the randomness of putting these beads together, and I purposely just like pulled them out, and because I would never put like two of the same color together or whatever. I'd be very intentional. Like I have made jewelry, and I'm like, I would never make something like this. But I was intentionally being random and intentionally accepting the process and what came to me, you know, and without going into too much of what I saw here, I think because so many things do happen in life that are unplanned, that are at least seemingly random, that acceptance, and from that, beauty can come from it, you know? It's not maybe what you planned or what you would have done, but allowing it to be allowing creation to be part of the process, of, you know, if that makes sense, like accepting the beauty that just comes from leaning into just letting it be.
So yes, so what I'm hearing is that you made a decision with intent to use the art materials in a way that wasn't about giving a certain impression. It was about accepting that we can't always project or predict what's going to happen in the future. So you created an object that symbolizes that randomness, that chaos, that
and
whatever may
process,
come.
because I love a good product. So
Okay, so the process, you were thoughtful, mindful about that. And I also heard at the beginning of what you said that it started with a conversation. So let's bring in the idea that connecting with your peers, having a conversation, sometimes is part of that creative process. It's part of the play process. It's part of the mindfulness process to make those connections and let those ideas flow.
May I add one thing?
Yeah.
I also heard courage. I heard courage to be intentional, to take that little risk and deviate. And that requires trust within yourself. And I love what you said about the conversation, because how can we then have the courage to have our idea shared, and then for us to co-create that space we talked about where these creative ideas can come out and we can take those calculated risks. Thank you.
All right, we've got one more in the back. I'm just checking the time. It's 6:48. We're good. All right, let's have another. I'll get you next. This one right here.
I appreciated the idea that we can have CommonSpirit One and we assign our own meaning to it. And although we might not always have access to the visual arts, we can do that in our everyday life as we walk around and nature, and I think I need to now learn the time to be intentional and slow down and that.
Awesome. Thank you for that. Okay, your turn.
For me, it brings up almost a self-compassion, because looking at the whole of the artwork, you see the outer shape, you see maybe what might not make sense to you at first, or even to yourself. But when you drill down and you look at how absolutely gorgeous every little tiny part of that is, and every emotion and every feeling that makes up the whole of what's inside you. You're not just happy, you're not just sad, you're not just angry, you're not just anything.
Yeah.
Because you're sparkly and you're beautiful and you're colorful and all of that.
Yeah.
And then seeing that reflected in yourself, you can reflect that to others.
Beautiful. Yeah.
So that other people.
That was beautiful. Yes. The idea that we can love all the parts of ourselves.
The color is almost overwhelming, and it takes up so much of your attention. So I just took a photograph and then desaturated it.
Oh, yeah.
And then the shapes come out. And now you see the shapes where that your attention was all on the color before.
So taking the image and then manipulating it in order to be able to see something else that your brain doesn't read the same way with all the color. Yeah, beautiful.
And can I add a comment to that? I think you bring up a very important point that sometimes we get premature closure or judgments based on what we see on the outside. And we don't ask the question, tell me more, or I'd like be curious about it, and how much more we would be able to build that true, open, authentic relationship and connection if we took that time to go beyond those layers. So thank you for bringing that up.
All right, so as we close, is there anyone else before I move on to the next thought or idea who wants to share? It's important for us to give time for this. The active witnessing is one of the things, it's a therapeutic process. So yes, and as I was talking about, one of the core processes in drama therapy is also distancing, right? Distancing is about getting close, which we did when we got close and we looked, and it's about pulling away and seeing what we see from a distance too. And in that, we can also create what's called like a titration, if you will, between our thoughts and our feelings. Because sometimes we can get overloaded with too much thinking and not enough feeling, and sometimes we can get overloaded with too much feeling and not enough thinking, right? And we want to have a balance of that, and so we use the distancing of the creative projection, all of that to help us access it. All right. So I want to thank you all for coming in, for engaging in this time of conversation and play and thoughtfulness. And thank you, Dr. Panda. Thank you to our Morehouse School of Medicine faculty and administrators who are here with us today for our More in Common Alliance program. And thank you to all of the other guests who have come and been a part of this. May you engage more and be compassionate to yourself, and use the art as medicine, as you will.